All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Rip Drip podcast. Today we have Dr. Wes Hendricks. He's the founder of Rebuild Health and Performance and Rebuild Brand Co. And he's one of the sharper minds in the space when it comes to helping active adults eliminate their chronic pain and stay in the game. He's built a very, very successful online coaching operation. And today we're going to talk about his story, his philosophy, and what he's learned building and practice from the clinic floor to the internet. So, Wes, welcome to the Rip Drip podcast, man.
Psyched to be on. I had a good laugh there, what I've learned. It's been quite the journey, figuring
Yeah.
it out as an entrepreneur. You don't even realize what you don't know until you get started.
Exactly. Yeah. Take us back to the beginning. I think you have a very interesting story. So for those that don't know,
Yeah.
how did you get in the space to where you're at now?
I kind of did, but as like a side project, a little like extra cash. Because I always did a remote or online program working with people as the client, even when I was in grad school, chiropractic school. So I was always like, I remember sitting in chiropractic class being like, or like the lecture hall, man, if I could make 100K a year, that'd be amazing. And now I'm over here like that's the ceiling or that's the goal for like a month now. So it's just crazy how that's changed. But I remember thinking, I could get five, six, 10 online clients. That'd be a nice little side project. But it was never the intention to not be in a clinic full time. And then around 2017, 18, I started documenting just my journey training, and people started reaching out to me organically. And it just eventually it turned into like, holy shit, I'm making more online than I am in the clinic, and that's supporting all the clinic expenses. Why am I not going all in on this thing? Um, and then I had a client that flew me out to Austin to stay with him for like a week or something, and he'd gone all in on his supplement company. And then after spending the week with him, I was like, holy shit, why am I not going all in on this? So that was like 2019. I came back and I kind of went from dicking around to like, let's do this thing. And it's been pedal to the floor ever since.
That's amazing. How have you kind of structured things right now from just an operational standpoint? I'm very curious in terms of like because there's so many different ways that
Yeah.
coaches, especially in the fitness and kind of like health space, how they structure their offers, how they structure their pricing, how they work with clients. Is it one-on-one or do they pass them off to another coach? Like dive into that. How have you structured things to obviously take it to a pretty high level and get great results?
Yeah. So for the better half of the entire time, it's been me. I've been running everything. I'm the setter, I'm the closer, I'm running the ads, I'm doing client management. It's all one-on-one. Um, and it got too much. So now I'm bringing on AC coaches, and they're working with predominantly the AC coach. I will, step in, offer assistance, hop on calls with the clients too. I check in with the clients, so I want to always be I don't want to remove myself too far from that. I want to make sure I'm getting points of contact with all of the people because they signed up with me, and then I gave them to, and I set them up with an AC coach, but I just don't want to make it feel like it was ever, they were pushed aside, and I'm still learning that process over the next 6 months, like over the last 6 months. What does that look like, and how do I want to continue to show up for them? Because like honestly, the majority of my success from the beginning, I saw a tweet post from who is it, Chris Summers? I'm butchering his last name. But it was like how to beat 99% of people. And what did he say? It was like just respond in a timely manner, be friendly to work with, and like something like basic shit. And
Mm-hmm.
for the last 5, 6 years, that's all I've done. Just one-on-one with everyone, showing up. I say I'm going to deliver your program every month on a Saturday. I'm going to respond to your text within 24 hours. I'm going to be here to support you. Like I fucking did that. That's like I'm not doing open heart surgery here. It's very, very basic things that I base a lot of my company's principles on, but it's gotten me this far. So now I'm continuing to figure out how can I maintain those as I bring on more people because I still want to be able to do that with the people that come in and they're working with one of the other doctors on my team at this point in time. So that's been interesting. Yeah, I'll stop there because I don't even remember where I was going with that.
What do you think is that point that, at least for yourself or what you've seen for other coaches in the industry, where they do need to start bringing on other people to kind of help support as well? Is there like a certain revenue number or is it a certain client number?
It depends on what your like level of risk is, to be totally honest. Um, Most of the online business mentorships I've been in, most people are bringing in like an AC when they're at like what 30, 40, 50 clients, something like that. which is fine. It just depends on how much profit you want to be making. For years, I was working with 110 to 120 clients. So, I'm spreading myself thin. I'm probably doing way too much, but profit was great. So as now I've gotten into the more of the cold traffic DM ads, where money is getting pumped back into the business, there was so much profit on the back end that it makes it easy to take a lot of maybe more business risks that other people would be if they're cutting it thin, and they've hired a setter, a VA, multiple coaches, they're trying to there's pros and cons to both. Maybe I would have grown quicker if I would have brought more people on. But then also, if you're putting three, four, $500 a day to DM ads, you got to pay everybody. You're barely breaking even. Like that's fucking stressful to show up to a sales call and maybe you're not going to show up the way you need to show up. So it's fit my personality growing the way I have. So I did it all for as long as I could to secure profit. So now I can take a lot more risks as I grow now.
What we've noticed is the coaches that do basically all of it themselves initially, it's a good thing because then you understand every aspect of the business and how it should
Yeah.
be done properly. And then when you bring somebody on, you kind of have a baseline and you have a way to train them because you've been there, done that. Whereas some coaches, I feel like they outsource things way too quickly. Like for us, for example, we automate like everything when it comes to the setting process. And some coaches
Yeah.
come to us, they've never done setting before and they're like, I don't know what I'm doing. And we're like, well, we
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
really help. I mean, we can try to help you, but if you
Yeah, how
don't
do you have a
know
conversation if you've never had
exactly.
10,000 conversations with what your ideal avatar is, right?
Exactly. So it's a very important note that I just wanted to like highlight there for those that are watching. Like try to do things, all of it yourself, like get your hands dirty, get in the trenches, as they say. And then from there, when you hire, it's going to be a lot more effective. You mentioned DM ads, you're spending a couple $100 a day, something like that. Talk
Yeah.
to me about that process. When did you turn them on? What has been your strategy? What has worked, not worked? Because that's also something that people come to us and they ask about as well as like, hey, we've got the setting part dialed in. How do I get more leads in the funnel? So let's dive into that.
Right out the gate, I would say you better know your fucking KPIs because if you do not know your numbers, you're just going to be emotional about it. And if you start letting your emotions get in when you're spending two, three, four, $500 a day, and that's adding up, like I was just telling, I'm on family vacation right now. I was telling my dad the other day, I think I went 2 weeks, 2 weeks where I didn't make a sale, but like everything was up to KPI in terms of cost per click, cost per call, like everything. So I'm just like, everything's doing good. Let's put more money into the ad. Whereas most people, would get emotional and say the ad's not working. I'm going to turn it off. I put more money into the ad and that this is the best part about this business. You can go weeks to months and feel like you're making next to no progress. And then in a matter of, days to a day, make weeks to months worth of progress. And I want to say I had a 15 or $20,000 day, which just made up, it covered everything for the month, but I could have been emotional about it and turn the ad off. And I didn't. I put more money into it. I did the opposite of what most people did. But because I knew the KPI, so I was making an informed based decision. No different than if a patient comes in, I'm going to do an exam and make my decision based upon their test results.
Yeah, it's a different like mindset that people have to adopt when they're starting to run ads. You have to be willing to spend some money as well. And some people are just, they try it out for a couple of days, they spend 50, $100, $200 and they get cold feet and they're like, "Oh, this doesn't
Yeah.
work." We just had a conversation with somebody else. Actually, you might know Stefan Kuhns. We had a conversation with him and he was talking
Okay.
about ads and he was like, "Yeah, some people just get cold feet very, very quickly, and you have to kind of stick in the game." How much would you recommend for people that are just getting into ads? How much would you recommend that they should set aside initially and just be like, "Hey, I'm going to stick to this test budget and let's ride it out."
If you're going to run DM ads, especially to cold traffic, anything less than $50 a day, it's not that you can't do it. It's just going to be so hard. Like it's going to be the turnaround time to get that data to make informed based decisions off of it is just going to be, it's going to be a much longer feedback loop. So, $50 a day, I'd give it 2 months. So what is that? We're talking 3K more or less, especially, between if you're brand new or very green, the cold, like all the DMs coming in, being able to navigate those conversations, qualify people, based upon their answers in the DMs. If you've never taken sales calls to cold traffic too, like that's going to be get ready to repetitively get kicked in the crotch, for for days on end because a 30 to 40% close rate, you're failing 60 to 70% of the time, and that's you're crushing it if that's what you're bringing in from cold traffic. Obviously people do better, worse, whatever, but like you, minimum 2 months of just don't expect anything.
What would you say is that difference, or what should people be aware of when they're taking the calls from cold traffic versus warmer inbound?
Everyone's gonna be skeptical. Everyone thinks everything's a scam. Um, what do they want to be aware of? You just you need to have a real conversation with them. Stop. And it's tough depending on people's level of experience coming in from warm traffic, and if you're running a script, if you're not running a script, how much experience you have from it. But at the end of the day, there's a person on the other end. You got to be having a real conversation with them, actually listening to what they're saying, not just, okay, I just asked them, I asked them this question. What's the next question? What's the next question? Like that's everyone knows at this time. Like you're probably not the first sales call they've taken from cold traffic off of social media. Especially because once you click on one ad, you're getting. I was clicked on shorts from Abercrombie, and now I'm seeing every single person's brand from Abercrombie. You're going to start, you click on one back pain ad, fitness ad, coaching ad, you're going to get everyone's. So you be a real person on the other end, listen to them. Maybe it's not going to go per the script, but that's going to set you apart too if you actually take the time to listen to someone and have a real conversation.
So true. What about from a creative strategy standpoint? What have you noticed? I know your offer is one that
Yeah.
like stands out for sure. It's not your typical, we were talking about this before off camera.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's not the typical like, hey, we're looking for five more guys that are looking to lose X amount of pounds or
Get
whatever.
shredded by summer or
Yeah, like
whatever.
that's a
Yeah.
that's a super saturated space.
Yeah.
You have a very unique offer, which I think really helps. And maybe you could talk about that a bit as well. But from a creative strategy standpoint, what's working? How are you approaching that to see success?
Yeah, in terms of ads, normal
In terms of
content.
ads.
Yeah. The less it looks like an ad nowadays, for me, the better. The more scripted, edited, whatever, the prettier it looks, the less it performs for me at least. Like I've got a B-roll ad that it's in a gym. The text on the B-roll ad, it's probably hard to read, but it's crushed for month. We're talking like 6, 7 times ROAS. And then I have just a still image ad, which I literally made on an Instagram story, and then I just screenshot it and reused. So it's like very bare bones. Um, and it's just a photo. It's not even a high quality photo. It's literally a screenshot from the B-roll ad that I've been running. But like the more basic, the more simple, but B-rolls and still images seem to work well because it gets the point across very, very quickly as opposed to a lot of these scripted ads that people might be running. I've seen so many of like they worked well years ago, like stuff from Cole Gordon in
Mhm.
terms of those scripts, where it was like a 90-second, 2 minutes, 2.5 minute ad. Most people aren't going to sit there and watch your ad for that long from cold traffic. Maybe they'd much rather just hop on a call or schedule a call and then go do some Instagram stalking and see if like, am I going to show up to this call? Am I not going to show up to this call? But that for me, the simpler, the more basic has been doing really well lately.
Simple scales, complex fails. That's what we like to
Yeah,
say.
right, right.
Yeah.
I have a quick question for you about business side of things. I can
Yeah.
tell you've got a fantastic posture, number one. I'm curious to know, do you find that a lot of business people are coming to you? And I want to ask this because I've found in my own experience after being in entrepreneurship for, 2, 3 years,
Mm,
just sitting in the desk chronically, like I feel like back pain is just inevitable. Do you
yeah.
find that you get a lot of entrepreneurs coming your way, or what's mostly like your target demographic?
I get a lot of medical professionals. That's the
Mm.
majority, like nurses, surgeons, um, different like dentists and that specialize in different areas there. And I think it's just because a lot of other online coaches, regardless if they're physical therapists, chiropractors, or just strength and conditioning specialists that maybe have like a specialty in rehab, so they want to, pursue the same area I pursue. Everyone's having a fucking dick measuring contest, trying to sound so smart and overcomplicating it. And when these medical professionals come in, I dumb it down. I'm like, this is what it is. This is how we're gonna do it. Like simple, like same thing with the ads. I uncomplicate the approach, the offer, and it seems to resonate with them. And maybe it's their bullshit radar. It's like, oh, this makes total sense. Like we don't need to overcomplicate this. So for me, it's personally, I wish I would have more entrepreneurs, because that's an easy sell to get an entrepreneur to invest in themselves. They're already investing in themselves. But it's a lot of in the health space. Like that's my targeting right now on the ad. It's medical doctors and it crushes.
That's amazing. I have a question about the content that you're running because I know you're growing on YouTube, you're growing on Instagram. Before I'd ask that though, just for the audience to be aware, in terms of the split from organic to paid,
Yeah.
how many customers are coming from those different channels, just so the audience is aware?
Right now, because it's just me and I don't have as much time to dedicate to organic that I did years ago, it's probably 75-80% all from cold traffic right now. We're getting 10 to
Wow.
12 new signups a month. And then that other 20-25% is referrals. And I personally, with the number of clients we have, I wish I could do a better push on a referral because that's like fishing with dynamite when somebody comes in referred. It's easy, but the ads are working right now. And still it's me running, 70% of the back end. So
Yeah.
as an entrepreneur, you always have shiny object syndrome. Well, there's Instagram. I should do more on YouTube. Well, LinkedIn, you can start getting client. A lot of times it's just making sure, you're continuing to do the thing that's working and not getting distracted there. So,
Mhm.
the cold traffic DM ads is working right now. So like we're just going to continue to pump into it. Doesn't work and then figure it out.
Yeah. So would you even say that the organic content side of things has been a big focus for you recently or not really?
I still do it because I found it's funny when for months I was running the same B-roll ads I was talking about a little while ago, and it was like one, two times ROAS. And I was posting one time a week, or one time a week, excuse me, one time a day. And then I went up to posting 3 times, 5 days a week. The same, and that was the only thing I changed. And the same ad started bringing 6, 7, 8 times ROAS. So I don't know if there's any correlation to that. Maybe, I that's the organic, I can only put so much time into it. But that was the only change I made with the same ad. Um, so I don't know if the people, when they'd see the ad, maybe they'd start getting hit with more and more notifications of the content coming in. So they were just getting more repetitions. They were spending more time with me. So they were more inclined to actually sign up by the time they got on the call. That's one of the things we can't track. I can know where they came from on the DM
Yeah.
ad. I know where they came in, but like how much of my content did you see? They wouldn't even remember how much of my content they saw. That was the only change I made. So I really try to stay with that 3 times a day, even if the content's, bombing or not hitting any like organic metrics that people care about.
Yeah, that's very, very interesting. I've noticed the same trend because I've been in the advertising space for like close to 8 years now, and it's a very similar thing that I've seen across many, many different verticals where paid can work in and of itself if
Yeah.
you do it correctly. But when you have other organic, whether it's on Instagram or on YouTube or whatever it might be, the paid just works better because I do think that people are going to see your ad and not all of them are going to book a call right away or they're not going to buy your
Yeah.
product right away. They're going to go check out the rest of your funnel, see who you are, what the brand is about, or what the product is about, whatever it might be. And then they'll be hit with another ad. And then they
Yeah.
actually go from there and book a call or make the purchase. They definitely work hand in hand. How do you approach the content? I'm just curious from like a very practical, strategical kind of standpoint on a week to week basis, whether it's on YouTube or Instagram. Like, are you bulk producing that in one day and then scheduling it out? Or are you doing it just like when it comes on the fly? Like, what's your strategy there?
When I'm organized here and not it's a fire drill every single day as an entrepreneur, which is maybe 50-50. I'm trying to bulk it out. I really like to throughout the week, save a few posts here, save a few posts there. So come Sunday, I'm scheduling all 15 of those posts for the week because once my week starts and I'm DMing still, I'm hopping on 2 to 3 sales calls a day. I'm still programming, doing clients, and then within my own business mentorship, I'm in hopping on those coaching calls. It's just I don't want to have to think about, oh shit, I got to post now, or I don't have a post right now. What am I going to post? So I try to get as many scheduled as I can. Fortunately, I've been doing this for so many years now. I have no problem taking something from 8, 9 months ago that did well, and I just repost it. If, maybe I only made 7 posts last week of new content, and I want to hit that 15 post week mark. Like, I had 50 new followers yesterday. They haven't seen something from 9 months ago, nor will
Yep.
they scroll back to 9 months ago. So, in this season, I'm not creating as much content as I I'd want, but I've had successful content in the past that, all these new people coming in, why don't I just fucking reuse it?
Very smart.
That's super cool. Are you doing all of your own like qualification? Talk to us about after the content comes in. How do you nurture your leads, and then how do you close? Do you close yourself, or do you have closers?
How do I nurture the leads, right? Yeah, so I'm in the process of hiring a setter here, right? When we were going through the interview process, I'm right now because I have so many leads coming in from the ads. I was telling the setter, like who I was interviewing, that like I'm stepping over dollars to pick up pennies. Like there's so many people that are agreeing to calls in the DMs right now, that people they've got like goldfish brains. They agree to a call, you drop some times, you're scheduling them, and they forget to respond, and then they get buried through 100 messages, and then sometimes in the DMs they don't go in chronological order. Sometimes they disappear.
Mm.
So I have so many people that I've probably haven't followed up with right now. So that back end is a dumpster fire there. But I'm trying to qualify the best I can from the ads through as quickly as I can with the conversations. I try not to do more than about 8 to 9 messages, because if not, it just turns into like too long of a conversation and they lose interest or they're not a hot lead.
Yeah.
I'm doing all the closing myself. It's 100% me right now.
Yeah, a lot of the people that come to us are in a really similar position where they're like, the content's great, my
Yeah.
closing's great, but it's the setters that are always dropping the ball. That's how we've been able to really make a lot of coaches very successful, is helping them out, automating that setting process. It's very interesting, like some coaches like the human setter route, but a lot of them at a certain point, it can't scale. And a lot of
Yeah.
times, like it's very hard to train somebody to keep them around for a super, super long time. So that's interesting. Do you think you'll ever try to outsource like different closers, or do you enjoy your sales calls and you just want to close them all yourself?
I haven't got that far yet. I could go, every business owner thinks they're going to close better than any closer. The
Yeah.
argument I also have with myself is like it's also somewhat of a medical history. I'm taking on the sales call as well. So to be able to diagnose with like I could teach a closer how to take a history. You could teach a monkey how to take a history, but I think there'd be a certain level of certainty the prospect needs on the other end to hear a different diagnosis when they've already had three, four, five failed attempts, not coming from somebody with some sort of medical background. It's not to say it can't be done, because I'm sure there's people way more successful than me that are doing that right now. I could also find a closer that used to be a physical therapist or a chiropractor and doesn't want to deal with all the headaches of being an entrepreneur. But that will be the last thing that I'll outsource as the business continues to grow. So I need to hire about two or three more coaches and get this setter locked in before that's even a thought.
What's next for you, Wes? What's on the horizon? Are you just continuing to do what you're currently doing with the online coaching, or do you see it developing in some ways? Talk about what's next.
I think it's just hiring as many coaches as I can here at this point and scaling. Yeah, I want to, at this point in time, what gets me fired up is because so many clinicians, chiropractors, physical therapists, they get paid shit to work in a clinic and work, 6, 7, 8 hours a day on their feet. It's not easy work, and it's just patient after patient. And when you're in pain, you're kind of a pain in the ass. I hate to say it, especially if, it's been going on for a while and for good reason. But as the clinician, that's emotionally exhausting when that's put on you. And to get paid what they get paid, it's it's not worth it being on the other end. So like, don't get me wrong, if I continue to bring in coaches and they're making $10,000, $15,000 a month, I'm doing very well. But that gets me excited to see them compensated, where they don't have to deal with being an entrepreneur and doing all the things I've had to learn. Because honestly, really, really good clinicians, a really good clinician probably isn't going to be a good sales, like they're not going to be a good closer. They're not going to want to do the setting. They want to treat patients. They want to treat pain. They don't want to talk about the cost of inaction or where you think someone's going to be 6 months from now. Like that logically doesn't make sense. You're in pain. Like, why don't you want to get better? Why do I have to like really dig deep here, pour salt in the wound or whatever? You know what I mean? Like those typical closing,
Yeah.
tactics and whatnot.
Yeah.
So to be able to have those clinicians come in, do what they do, and give them the platform to do it, and have them get compensated for it, that at this point in time gets me really fired up. But also, don't get me wrong, that just means I'm making that much more. So it's a win-win on both cases.
Exactly. I love that. This has been very insightful, I think, for those that are starting up their coaching business or they've got a little bit of traction, but they want to scale it. I think it's been super, super helpful. Where can people find you? Plug whatever you want to plug.
Yeah. Probably the easiest is just Instagram at Dr. Wes Hendricks.
That's it. Thank you guys for tuning in. And Wes, thank you so much for your time. I think this has been very impactful and very valuable for a lot of our audience. So I can't wait to release this. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it, guys.
All righty. We'll catch you guys in the next one.